굉장히 소박한 일인데 저희 팀이 좀 단체 사진을 찍을 때 멋없게 나와요. 이번에는 좀 멋있게 딱 찍을 수 있는 사진 한 장 나왔으면 좋겠어요. 트로피든 아니면 단체 사진이든 막 이기고 단체 사진이든 좀 멋있는 사진이 없거든요, 거의. 그래서 이번에 좀 진짜 멋있는 사진 딱 한 장 찍었으면 좋겠어요.
Welcome back to Seoul, South Korea in the 2014 World Championship Final. While 9 of the players on the stage are playing for the cup, one of them just wants a nice photo.
I'll take that picture for you.
I just want to remind everybody to stay tuned after the matches have concluded for the post-game show, as well as a special encore performance by Imagine Dragons. We'll be talking a little bit about the finals as well as the rest of the tournament. Let's turn our attention to Game 4 very quickly. Samsung White are leading the series 2-1. Starhorn Royal Club have shown renewed life. They dug deep. I want to start with Royal Club. I feel they've been improving over the series, albeit, however, smallly. Monty, maybe share your thoughts on Royal Club as a squad over the last 2 games.
Well, I really like what we saw from them in the draft last game, and a lot of that goes back to when Royal Club in these best-of-5s have needed to pick up these very clutch wins to avoid getting eliminated. What do they fall back on? Conservative play, a lot of 5v5 grouping, big tanky champions, and then a way for Uzi to carry the team fight.
Resets.
Yeah, resets on Tristana. So we've seen this before. Then we're seeing it again right here. Now, will that continue to work? No, because this is the first game probably that White has been kind of tested in pick and ban. They'll probably rejigger their strategy a little bit, and I think they'll come back stronger. But if Royal can avoid some of these splitting during team fights and avoid kind of losing skirmishes early, maybe they can get back into that late game point again.
I want to pose a question about that picks and bans. I do feel like, the Singed pick will be one that will be discussed at length. However, I liked how the fact Royal Club forced that. Freak, maybe share your thoughts on the pick ban phase or some of White's weaknesses elsewhere.
Yeah, so Samsung White did the smart thing on Game 1 and didn't do it here in Game 3, where the Ryze got first picked and they took away the Maokai because they know that they can play mid lane Ryze, top lane Maokai. Here, the Maokai gets picked and they forget that Ryze still exists. Suddenly Core gets on the champion, is comfortable on one who can hold up in lane, does well against Fizz, and suddenly Samsung White don't have this laning impact anymore. I want to see White keep playing aggressive laner so that Pawn can push and then roam, and I want to sort of figure out, does Samsung White keep banning their own champions to try to hold Insect down? They're banning Rengar every single game if they can't first pick it. They're banning Lee Sin every single game. Flat out, they're hampering Dandy a little bit, and that's kind of concerning when the best jungler in the world can't play his 2 best champions.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, I feel like this entire series we've just seen Royal Club is more about punishing White's mistakes than creating opportunity. White is the best team at creating opportunity. That's why they play such a fast game, and that's why they can win in under 20 minutes sometimes. If Royal Club can figure out how to create more opportunities, especially with their comfort picks like Ryze and Maokai top lane, then they can easily take another game 4, but they really need to pick it up in terms of creating picks and plays.
So in the previous show, I was talking about how Pawn has a tendency to pick these strong champions and push his lane out and have that wave clear in there and then just start roaming. He didn't show that last game. He got punished with his Fizz, and that kind of felt like Samsung White got pushed back on the map, and that allowed Royal Club to stay in the match, in the game. So I just hope that White opts for some wave clear here and there, and as Freak pointed out already, winning lanes because they're so good at snowballing their advantage. Right. Why would you pick for late game? Why would you pick these funky triple split push compositions?
Play your strengths.
Yeah,
just play your strengths.
Not needed.
Well, Crepo, thank you for that food for thought. We're going to send it over to Riv, Joe, and Jat for the play-by-play of Game 4.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and I love that double lift opportunity because that is what Royal Club has now. Winning that Game 3, bringing it to a Game 4, still alive, not even needing an iron lung on that one. They went through quite convincingly in that game and took it to Samsung White.
Well, beat them once, go into the game straight afterwards. You've got to, in my opinion, dominate Samsung White here because if you play a close game and come through, Samsung White aren't going to lose any morale from that, Right. You've got to dominate them here and completely throw them off when it comes to game number 5 because, don't get us wrong here, there's a game that's gone to Royal Club. Samsung White are still the big favorite here, still the big, strong team that we all expected them. The question is whether Royal Club can step it up and throw them off.
Yeah, or the question is Samsung White thrown off already because they didn't have a perfect series. We think back to the only other game they've dropped at the World Championship, Game 3 against TSM.
Yep.
Game 4 was actually a little bit shaky. It was a 40-plus minute game, to my memory, where they started a few late-game deaths because TSM was actually outmaneuvering them in the late game. Samsung White, with the way they play in the early and mid-game, that type of play requires so much confidence. And as soon as you lose, just naturally, you lose a little bit of that confidence. However, they did say they were never going to let that happen again. Game 4.
Well, we do know there's a bit of tilt that can happen on white when things start to go awry, sometimes from the bottom lane, sometimes from the mid lane. We'll see if it happens again. We'll see if Royal Club can get under the skin of Samsung White one more time to take it to a Game 5. We said it is a tough task. They need 3 in a row. So far they have 1 of those wins. The bans begin. Jace gets taken out again. Too much control from him through these games. We are going to see most of the champions from last game left up once again.
Very interesting ban phase here. Again, on the blue side, White is able to get Rengar because the Jace is smartly banned away. It's the one thing that had been proven that Korn can't play, but Pawn absolutely can. I was kind of expecting a Ryze first pick. However, Looper will very confidently pick Rumble into that. And Ryze is no surprise. Braum also somewhat blocks the Twitch pick. I really like that from Royal Club. Maybe we will see the Trist, as they said earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we actually did see it in the fight at the top, funnily enough, the fight that Samsung White pushed them back with, but there was a lot of Twitch's damage blocked out by Braum in that one, and they were able to lock Twitch down. See if that comes into effect here. Expecting him to go Twitch, probably. He's been a champion that's just worked so well for him. Especially, I mean, you look at his stats coming into the final, 7-0. That's before we even started off today, of course, with the first 2 wins under their belt. It will, however, as I'm talking about Twitch, be Corky Janna. So just throw everything out the window that I just said.
Well, it's because Samsung White is making an adaptation right now. They are changing their style of play. They still have the Rengar synergy with Janna, who can get the shield while stealth to make an appreciable increase in his damage. And now Royal Club doesn't have a mid-game matching AD carry to go up against. Add that to the fact that Rengar's mid-game with Dandy is so strong, they might be tunneling a little bit into one of their only available strategies left, which would be a death ball with Tristana.
We did see the Lulu played before. They had that save composition coming out with Mundo on the top lane for Cola. But they may switch it around. Does Uzi take the Twitch? Does he pick out some of Im's medicine on this one? He switches back to that comfort pick, and he is going to lock it in, scaling with Ryze throughout the game. Then a little safety from Lulu here. So that Lulu pick 2-0 for Korn. See if he can make it 3-0.
Yeah, it's been good for them in the top lane. In the mid lane, but not been at all impressed with any top lane Lulus, really, that we've seen so far. So will that mean that Korn gets his hands on it and Cola will have Ryze? Ryze up until today had really been a strong pick for them. On the other side, we're actually going to see Kassadin locked in for the top lane for Looper, and then they take Orianna as well for Pawn.
Pawn is not playing an assassin, which he has done through pretty much the entire World Championship. They do throw some nice mobility in the top lane there. It's a little bit of an adjustment. I was expecting something like Talon, but he didn't want to pick it into Lulu. And of course, the return of Pantheon.
The return of Pantheon, indeed. We'll be seeing the plays being dropped from the sky here from Insect if he can start to get behind the lines of White or just make the turret dive, something that Royal Club starts to go throughout the game with the safety of that Lulu's wild growth. It's something they can really get down and dirty with in the beginning of this game. We do see that Mata has that Janna. He's going to be flying around the map trying to create opportunities for everybody in lane, but I don't think you pointed out that may not be Pawn's lane. He's not on something that can quickly zero out his lane as usual.
Another thing we have to be careful of here is that you've got a Kassadin to jump away, you've got a Corki to Valkyrie away.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for those man drops to be super successful, I think. It's going to be obviously all about placement, as it always is with them. I question whether Insect can land them successfully enough. Even though they won that Pantheon game, the man drops weren't exactly the biggest things in it.
It's really hard to do, especially against mobile teams, and the added move speed from Janna and Orianna will make it easier to get away. But honestly, this was probably the most interesting pick and ban phase we've had all series, because they are continually adapting to each other. Even if the bans have the slightest of tweaks, it's having huge ripple effects on the rest of the pick and ban phase. The fact that Trist is in this game, the fact we see another mid-game Lulu, but a matching mid-game attempt with the Pantheon, I'm just really excited to see if Royal Club can continue this journey.
I think everybody's excited that we have a Game 4 in this one, and again, we ask you to turn to Twitter once more, or maybe even 2 times more, depending on this result, to vote for who you think will win the series, the Summoners Cup, and become the world champions. Tweet hashtag SSWin, SSW win, or SHR win to @LOL Esports. And we'll see where the numbers stand shortly. Right now, the players stand very tall. Both teams after that, like you said, Joe, does it shake the confidence of Samsung White, or they come out even stronger? Right now, they stand on the rift, and the game 4 begins.
And honestly, Riv, it's back to basics. Let's see the level 1 from Samsung White, because they have typically been so good at reading the enemy here at level 1. Can they get to the first ward in time? Can they catch Royal Club as they try and invade? And again, they spot out their entire team.
Did they see? Yes. Did they see go down was the question, and yes was indeed the answer. So Royal Club, they've come in here, they've taken away that ward, which will limit somewhat the vision. Actually, a ward has been put on that ramp there at the top. Didn't quite see if they pinged that one, so we'll see exactly how this one all works out at level 1. Samsung White didn't do anything at level 1 in the last game, which is actually bucked the trend, because White have been making level 1 plays throughout the tournament.
Really something that has set Royal Club back. We were expecting to see some 3 buffs here from White, but it seems like they've kind of absolutely been holding themselves back here in the early game.
I mean, even just a little bit, there's some very aggressive wards that were placed by both sides, and I really wonder what type of laning situations we're going to see out of this one, because in-depth knowledge of the starts from these teams will be granted with those wards. It's all about how quickly they can react to them. And in a fluid game with many lane swaps, we have seen time and again, that is where Samsung White is comfortable. And that is what we're probably going to be seeing in this match.
We do see Korn still taking the teleport onto Lulu. Pawn with a different play for Orianna on Ignite, but they're not going to meet here as the invade goes down, so Summoner's Spell should be saved, and blue should be taken by Royal.
So it's actually really interesting what just happened, because even though Samsung White, even though Royal Club was not seen invading the blue buff, both of their own buffs were warded, so Samsung White can surmise which buff they started on. Expect Dandy to actually try and run straight up for that next blue buff, but Insec will try and match him there because they don't actually have a numbers advantage. We'll see if he can beat him to the spot. This could be huge. It could be a 3 buff for Insec if he does this right. Dandy on full ferocity, however.
Dandy going through there will drop a ward in position. Will they pull the mid laners away from this one? Or will Dandy stick around? He's actually going towards this bottom lane. Korn still level 1.
He has to know it's coming.
And TP was used. This would be a fantastic time to be able to kill him off. Actually, Dandy will back away. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Imp and Matt are going aggressive here onto Uzi and Zero. Both of them fall into about half HP. In the end, no kills, but aggressive stuff from Samsung White up top.
And towards that blue buff, it was the help from Korn to come in. The 3 buff start coming in for Royal Club to begin this one.
Maybe. Dandy's on his way back over, and depending on the power difference in the mid lane and top lane, they're going to be able to get that double buff anyway. So throughout all the potential outplay from Royal Club and all the time they spent to run in there, they actually can't get the 3 buff. So some really intense back and forth going here on a map-wide level.
Crazy, crazy stuff. 2 reds for Dandy, 2 blues for Insec. Where does that leave them? Well, it leaves Dandy on the top side of the map. At a point to dive, probably not at this stage, and he's going to get back onto farm. Let's not forget game 2 with that Rengar, where he spent a lot of time early in the jungle just to get himself up as quickly as possible and hit level 6. That double stealth caused a few problems for Royal Club. It's not going to be quite the same this time around, though. They have Imp on Corki. However, with him and Looper in there, there's a lot of mobility.
Yeah, it's still going to be a very devastating assassination attempt when Dandy goes in for stuff. Cola also had that great game in game 3. At the moment, it looks like Insec is hoping for a counter gank, but it appears like Dandy is in farm mode, and Insec is going to have to wait a while if he wants that one to get set up.
Well, we'll see whose farm mode matters more. Uzi going in pretty hard here with Zero. They could get the lockdown and concussive blows. Very nice. Winter's Bite only adding 3 on that one with Uzi coming out strong on the end. The Braum really working out for Zero here. Good room prison, forced the flash. Wait a minute, Imp, the shot, one more, the Ignite burns, and so does Imp. He goes down and across the map. Insect picks one up for himself with a flash engage. As you can see, it's down.
What a start for Royal Club. So they have that incredibly complex level 1 that trades blue for blue and red for red, but then not only does Insect get first blood with the superior gank to Dandy, the duo lane that again was actually in a 2v2, the one thing that I thought Samsung White was going to avoid at all costs, cost them a kill in a 1v1.
This is again down bottom and double lock him. I thought Looper was close enough to the tower, but
turret shot.
He flashed it.
Yeah. It's the Pantheon turret dives right there. He blocks the first turret off. The turret will not save you against Pantheon in the early game. Rise versus Kassadin. Early on, Rise does have a good amount of lockdown potential, and maybe they can get Cola going once again. Now, White initiates the lane swap game.
And we see Uzi already with the pickaxe. Insect coming out with another sweeper. Something we see White do a lot, if they even get behind a little, is try to place a lot of forward wards. We already saw that pinged out just now by Zero. Mata tried to get into a blue buff ward. That'll be cleared out the next time Insect's in the bottom. And right now they have great information to keep this advantage. 6 minutes in, 2-0 for Royal Club.
Insect and his pocket jungle picks. Won every game so far with those strange ones, and will it be another one here for Pantheon? We'll find out. Still a way to go in this one. It is, however, 1,000 gold lead that Royal Club sit on here. A dream start in game number 4. After looking like they were really on the ropes after 2, well, they win game 3 and are now ahead in the earliest of early games. How will that turn around? You mentioned pickaxe against what is just a longsword really in that bottom lane. Problems for Imp and Mata.
Zero's Braum, very powerful. If they can actually win the lane with Tristana against Corki, that has so many rippling consequences for the rest of this game, as well. Rise is so much stronger than Kasten right now. And Twitter believes that's for sure. 50-50 on the fan vote.
Twitter believes indeed. You were saying Zero's Braum very, very strong. These are the first 2 games we've actually seen him come out with it, and he is playing exquisitely on this champion.
And with all of that in mind, and the 50-50 fan vote and the 1,000 gold lead, never have I ever seen Dandy's Rengar hit level 6 and not make something good happen. So there is still a lot of playmaking potential for Samsung White here. Razor, no boots of mobility yet for Dandy, but watch out, because that is the point where Samsung White wants to take back control of the series.
And especially when you've got Zero and Uzi ahead in that bottom lane, feeling confident, that's exactly the time when Dandy can come straight in there, stealth up through the lane and cause you problems. There he is, level 6 now hit for Dandy. Will it be boots and mobility as he comes back into base? And then off it will. Boost some mobility here for Dandy.
And a great play by Royal Club as they switch down bottom to keep that pickaxe matched up against him. They said, we don't want to do that. He's going to be way ahead, but they made sure it's happened. A 6 to a 5 and a 4 here. Plays possibly being made. We do have Insect on the bottom side, and man drop is up. That Grand Skyfall could be used, but Rengar just on the wing.
It's such a guessing game, actually, for these 2 junglers. They're 2 of the best junglers for ganking through wards. Who will jump first? Insect, he's thinking about it. Here it comes.
Man drop down
Rengar's
to the
pretty
bottom.
close.
They're going to dive in. It was the target here. They've exhausted Uzi. Insect on the back. They're trying to get in. But Zero's tanking on the turret. He's going to go down as well. Insect low. Insect goes down. Now Uzi in trouble. There's the TP. Actually cancelled, but it's probably for the best. Uzi's going to go down. The shockwave will add to it. And they turn it around 3 for 1.
That was an amazing Howling Gale from Mata to completely win that fight.
And now they can take the dragon. That is Dandy, the god of counter ganking. He predicted Insect's jump. He was there. He caught them between the turrets. And now they're trying for dragon.
Going to be very close. Korn doing what he can. Close in the fact that Korn could get killed here. Close for him. The Glitter Lance is down. That's pretty much the power he has. An easy smite in, but they don't know where Royal Club is coming from on this. He tries to keep him in range. Can he get the help? Picks on for another Glitter Lance to Dandy, but everybody makes it out alive with Imp coming in for a little bit of backup.
Questionable flash there by Korn when there was no kill to be had. They were going to be backing anyway. Now he doesn't have that for the next time Dandy decides for a gank.
Check out this Howling Gale. Stop.
Mata had it timed just right. He knew the angle Insect was coming in on, and he stopped him from being able to jump on him. And then Dandy came in at exactly the right time. The teleport was honestly late to make an impact, and it was very good that he canceled that, because it would have been yet another death for Starhorn Royal Club. As it was a 3-for-1. They lost the Dragon, and they lost control of the early game.
Not only that, the exhaust that came onto Uzi basically made that a 3-on-2 once they're in there. Uzi's running around waiting for it to actually time out, and by the time that did happen, he couldn't do anything in that fight. It leaves us at 3-for-3, and Dandy is coming back down towards the bottom side of the map. The drop is not ready just yet for Insect. These two men have been fairly quiet. Cole, you can see, though, trying to keep the pressure up. He's actually behind on farm currently over the Kassadin.
He did lose some efficiency when he had to cancel that teleport, so that's one trip to the lane he could not get. Dandy is putting so much time into this next gank. He was waiting at the turret 30 seconds before his ultimate would come off cooldown just so he can gank immediately. I think they were hoping for a 4-man gank because Looper's teleport was up as well. But yeah, you can just see, just based off that one counter gank, kind of like Game 3 turn when Samsung White had the failed dive in the mid lane. Game 4 may have turned with that counter gank from Dandy and the rest of Samsung White.
White trying to see if they can figure out where Insec is. Simple defensive wards keeps him safe against Looper as he roams down towards the Wraith camp. Looper back to lane now as Colo is trying to get a push on. Insec going for another Grand Skyfall. Ping in the mid lane. Pawn is going to have to flash out of this one if he doesn't want to get hit. Could be polymorphed in. Wait, they get the wild growth. They get the kill. It's going to be Looper and Dandy that are there right away, though, with the teleport. Dandy was already on point for the counter gank. Mada on the roam as usual. Double kill for Looper's Kassadin.
That's what they were waiting for with that teleport advantage from Kassadin. They don't necessarily care about predicting where the insect gank is coming from. They just wait for it, and they're fast enough, and they have the tools to just respawn. Even though Pawn did go down, it is more kills for Samsung White and 100% kill participation from Dan.
And that shockwave from Pawn as well, holding them back just that little bit longer so they could keep on going through. It leaves them 2,000 gold almost in the lead. And Imp and Mata now, after what was a decidedly scary start, then the turnaround right underneath their own tower, are going to be feeling more confident here with that Sheen now and the workings of the Phage for Imp. On the other side, it's an average played second for Uzi, similar path to what he's been taking this entire time, really.
Yeah, and this is actually the worst point in time for him to have to be powering up. If they had that edge, they could not give up that turret dive that Insect gave, because now Imp has kind of gained the upper hand while Uzi has that Avarice Blade, and the rest of the playmaking is just not there to support Royal Club. I wonder if Insect will be dissuaded from ulting in again, since his ganks have gone so wrong. And honestly though, that is a mindset they cannot take against Samsung White. Insect needs to keep trying. Now Royal Club has the teleport advantage with Cola's Rise, and they would have to try and make a play.
I was going to say, not using the sweepers, and they used them, but that ward right behind Red Buff has helped Royal Club out so much. Just a simple vision ward, seeing everything and allowing them to know where to clear. Insect clears that one out. One's going to die. They'll know they have a new ward up in that, except White knows about it now, and they will probably not take that path again until they have a sweeper up. Imp still trying to build up that Phage, staying in lane for quite some time, but keeping it to the turret. He can't be aggressed on too much. See Mata still on the roam, trying to create opportunities, trying to get these wards in. Places for Looper to teleport right onto a pink ward. That'll be cleared out immediately.
So, Dragon in 140, this is the big thing. Zero will do a good job of clearing up. There are 3 pink wards on that right side.
So, the Rod of Ages that has been completed by Looper is really huge for this next potential mid-game Dragon fight. As well, Mata's Janna will be so critical in splitting up this team fight and resetting the initiation from Starhorn Royal Club. They need to split Insect after he ults in with Pantheon. Power spikes have also been reached in with the Trinity Force on Imp, and Vision Control is also in the favor of Samsung White. The one thing that Royal Club has is a teleport advantage with Cola, but that they have to wait a minute for.
Bit of a teleport advantage there, possibly a Skyfall to be used, and you can see the pink wards being placed in certain positions, so he knows he's not trying to do a grand Skyfall while he is in Vision. But actually, he's hatching this one right now at the blue buff, and it's going to be dead quite soon. If he sees that, he knows he's going to be on it. 5-4, 14.5. Doesn't look like we're going to get a play out of this one.
Yeah, well, Royal Club wants to get a fight before the Dragon, except it's a little bit telegraphed now that they know where Insect is. I also have to add that that is probably the earliest blue elixir I have seen someone buy
both sides.
Corn has a blue elixir, and so does Pawn. That just shows you how paramount this mid-game power spike game is throughout the entire World Championship, but specifically in this game, with how close it is, and the Dragon spawning in 10 seconds.
They've made the call. Looper has actually walked down from that top lane with not having his teleport available, knowing that Kohler had his. He had to make the move now. They're going to be there right as this Dragon spawns. Where are they going to go? Are they going to head straight towards the bottom lane? Looper has been spotted thanks to that ward on the ramp. They'll spot the pink ward as they come through as well. But will they sweep out the one ward that's actually giving Royal Club the vision? I don't think he meant to ward there. That was.
I feel like Royal Club has to back away from this one, but they teleport into contest. It is so dangerous, and he's cut off.
Not a canceled teleport. Looper puts himself right in the front. That Rod of Age is charging up, so he's pretty healthy, and he can take a good hit. What a shockwave from Pod. Gets the damage they want, controls the fight, and they walk towards the brush, where Dandy is even stronger, and the fight cleanly going in Samsung White's favor. The Dragon is only going to be an afterthought here for White as they get it uncontested on the Royal Club ace.
That may be the fight that decides the 2014 World Champion right there, because Samsung White knew they had the power, they found the right fight, they split up Royal Club when Royal Club needed to stay together, and they just ran down every single member individually. They take everything.
Dragons outer middle turret. Let's watch that one again though. The TP coming in from Kohler cost him early on.
Without vision control, Royal Club had no business trying to take this fight. They also used their Glacial Fissure on pretty much nothing. Uzi jumped in straight to an exhaust right there, so he was ineffective. Everything for Samsung White was beneficial right there. Kassadin thrives in spread out team fights. Janna thrives in creating spread out team fights. And also, vision control is always important. Samsung White had everything. It all came together, and that gold lead appears out of nowhere, 6,000 strong.
And White's quickly back from base to save a turret. They don't even lose anything on this one, but a bit of health and summoner spells to win the fight. 10-4, 17 minutes in. They've just gotten themselves a 6,000 gold lead, and when White has a gold lead, it's pretty hard to get back from that. We've seen Royal Club kind of push and waver those gold leads, but never to come back from such a big one. Him now, you can see, putting the pressure on with Mata in the bottom lane, and they are just acting in full control. But here comes the Grand Skyfall.
Who are they going to go for? They're already out of range here. Mata beating Uzi back as Looper will even join in there on the bottom side of the map. Will they keep pushing this one back? Pawn is causing problems for Korn in the middle lane, and now Dandy is starting to loop around.
Here he comes. He's in stealth.
There's the alert. They know he's there, but they don't know who he's on. He eats Uzi right away. Looper's going to be able to give a little bit. Dandy gets the heal, and he flashes out perfectly. Here comes Pawn from the side, and he's just dribbling around everybody. The ball movement is incredible. There's another one. He can dissonance as he walks over it, and he does so. Zero goes down as well. Another turret coming in. They are getting so much at once. Their spikes are incredible.
We were wondering if there was going to be a lack in confidence and conviction from Samsung White after dropping Game 3. Definitely not. As soon as they got that Dragon fight, they turn it on once again. You give them an inch, they take 2 miles and the World Championship, because they are so in control right now.
It's not a small lead, that's for sure. 8,000 gold with less than 20 minutes on the clock. And if you look down the items, well, that's where the problem gets even scarier. Needlessly large rod for Pawn. We touched on Looper earlier, who had that Rod of Ages finish. He's going to have a Zhonya's in just the coming moments. There's a Ghost Blade for Dandy. And yeah, his Feral Flare just dinged as well.
At 18.5 minutes, with how much he's just been everywhere in this game, he is the most dangerous Rengar in the world. That is not even an argument for anyone to make. 100% kill participation, 19 minutes in. Everywhere he goes, good things happen. And they have Royal Club completely contained.
And it helps so much that top and mid lane are so versatile. We see these picks coming out of Looper now. Pawn, his first Orianna of the entire Worlds tournament from groups to now, and he's still playing like he played it every day. Absolutely amazing. Still with that gold lead, 13-4 as they start maxing out more kills, and they may just do what they did in the group stages, the shortest games with the highest KDAs. They look to do it again. It seems like Royal Club's win only anchored the Giant.
Yeah, it looks that way, that's for sure. I mean, 13 kills to the 4 of Royal Club. The outer layer of turrets all gone. Full-on Dragon control. and a bunch of kills. Look
Where's
at
he
this.
going?
Dandy, Ghost Blade with the ultimate. He's going to dive on it. Take a look at the damage. He's going to get put on the kill with the auto attack there right at the end. That leaves them with a 5 versus 4 with the bottom lane pushing up towards the inner turret. A free blue buff as well for Dandy.
Yeah. And it's an extra 52 attack damage he gets when the Janus shield goes on him. It's creating so much more threat. They're just going to keep the pedal to the metal.
That's the shockwave, really giving them the ability to take the turret and then some. We see Cola running in from the side. Glacial Fisher across. It does hit Pond. He's on the double buff Oriana though, so he can keep spitting out the damage, keep spitting out the AoE. It pushes Zero off to the side and takes him out pretty much by himself. You can only see a bit of assist coming from both the mid lane and the support. And Royal Club is looking for solace on their base 20 minutes in here as their inhibitor's about to go down.
Inhib is gone here. There's no way they can hold on to it. Looper, who's so strong. Zonya's done. Just dives towards the back of the turret, and everyone has to just get away from that. They've got this wave pushing up the bottom side of the map. Looks like, though, that they want to spend the gold that they've got with that push, with the kills, and that inner turret in the middle lane going down. They're just trying to catch out Imp there before he recalled, but not going to be enough for him. He's going Blade of the Ruin King next.
And this game was decided by that dragon fight, but more so by Samsung White's understanding of exactly when they become powerful in the game. Their power spike. They had the Trinity Force, they split up the fight at that dragon, and really, if you look at Royal Club and their chances to win this game, it all had to do with reaching 20 or 30 minutes and having Uzi stronger than Imp, and using him plus the Lulu shields to create more action. They did not have to fight that dragon, but Samsung White knew that it was theirs to take, and as soon as opposition was provided, it was just blown straight through. Now, it's just the symphony for Samsung White. They had that slip up in game 3, but this is what they live for. This is why they're so good, how quickly they can close this game and become the world champions.
When the opportunity arises for another advantage, you see the entire team there ready to take that advantage. Dandy gonna clear out a pink ward real quick as they just start strangling out the vision of Royal Club here, and they're gonna wait for them to ward up more. That turret goes down, and they're gonna be able to start splitting these lanes a bit once the super minions come in. Actually, Dandy just uses that as a front door to get in. There's the Ghost Blade. They hop in. Oh, the Ghost Blade into Shockwave, or rather Rengar jumping into the Shockwave out of invisibility, and that's gonna be huge damage. This might even be enough for the next inhibitor. Kills coming in from Looper as he gets to the backside. As you said, chat, thriving in chaos. Looper doing just that. It's huge, and they may just try to win this one.
The death toppers are so short.
They're short here, but they were actually pushing that super minion wave through, and Samsung White are on towards the Nexus turrets. Look at the damage that they have there. The first Nexus turret is going to fall. Only Lulu really there to stop them. The second Nexus turret fall. They're going to focus in on the Nexus itself, and Samsung White are the 2014 World Champions.
What a sight. Just what an extraordinary world championship Samsung White has had. Dandy's Rengar was such an absolute terror in this final game. For Royal Club, they get their first single victory in a World Championship final, but it's not enough to take down the monsters that are Samsung White.
Absolute titans throughout the entire tournament. The team that drops only 2 games, well deserved to take the championship title here in 2014. And going over to pay respects to Royal Club now. Vaughn was given the jacket of Dade. He used it quite well throughout these matches, and the rest of the team synergizing just as well to bring out the victories through and through, pushing advantages to the next level and to the championship win.
They were the big favorites coming in. I don't think any of us expected them to come through and be so dominant, though. Losing just 2 games, 1 in the quarterfinal, 1 here in the World Championship game. And that trophy right there belongs to Samsung White.
Yeah. If there was ever a doubt, they erased it.
The cup hoisted in front of the home crowd. pleased with the victory, pleased with the games, and the games were absolutely amazing.
It's got to feel good being considered the best team in Korea for so long, but never being able to actually win that championship. To come in game 4, 23 minutes and 5 seconds, the official time on that final game. So fast, so crisp, and so sudden the ending. They are the champions.
And here of all places as well, what a place to do it, in a packed World Cup stadium here in Seoul, to win 3-1 here in the grand final after having such an amazing tournament, completely stomping down their sister team Samsung Blue, which they failed to do multiple times. Yeah. Such a deserving winner than we've ever had, I think.
In a contribution from everybody on the team, like when you asked Imp who's the best AD carry, he said Uzi, but together the team, our team, synergizes better, we play better, and they've shown that here tonight.
Yeah, and it's every single player that stepped up throughout the World Championship. Obviously, Imp had so many dominating games on Twitch, but Pawn played so many assassins, and to be able to switch back to Orianna in that final game, go 7-1-9, and just control Korn once again was really impressive. Looper as well, known as a very passive defensive top laner, breaking out so many new picks. His top lane Kassadin was lethal, his Akali was incredible. They really just stepped up. They hit their stride exactly when they needed to.
I want to single out Mata here because supports so often go without, you know, we talk about supports all the time. There are so many supports that have got names for themselves for being amazing, but Mata throughout of Worlds has been so good. He impressed me more than I expected, to be honest.
Definitely a selfless guy on the support. Got his AD carry 2 pentakills throughout the World Championship, throughout this whole entire tournament. It's never been done before. They did a lot of firsts here. Yep. Only lost 2 games. They are absolutely a team that deserves that cup.
Yeah, #1 in every single KDA category, right? Even the losses they have, you're never quite believing it until the game is actually over. Their wins are more decisive than we've ever seen. Their average game time is so low. They pick so many different champions. They just won in such a variety of ways. It's got to feel good.
Donning the shirts.
Yeah, we also have to give props to their opponents here, Royal Club. The team as an organization, 2nd final in a row. Their AD carry Uzi, 2nd World Championship final in a row.
Yep.
He becomes now, sadly for him, it's not an honor that you'd probably like to have, but the only person to reach 2 finals and have 2 losses to his name.
Yeah, it was such a road for Starhorn Royal Club. Nobody really expected too much from them coming into this. They had 3-2, 3-2, and then a 1-3 if you look at it from their standpoint. But they put up, even though the games were very one-sided, the ones they lost, they put up such a fight because teams don't actually lose close games to Samsung White. If you look at the history of their games throughout the past year, either Samsung White beats you by, in this tournament, their average margin of kills in a game was +18. That's how they win every time they win. If they lose, it's the close games. So really the games that they lost was just kind of business as usual for Samsung White. But the fact that they took a game off of them in the final, they can go home happy.
All right, gentlemen, we're finished up here, but we're going to send it over to the analyst desk to provide commentary as we crown our winners.
Thank you very much, guys. With that final victory locked in, the 2014 World Champions are confirmed. I am joined here by OGN Shoutcaster Chobra and Translator, who will be helping us with the translation as we send it over to OGN's famed hypecaster Jun to kick off the closing ceremony.
All right, so as we kick off the awards ceremony of the 2014 World Championship, we'd like to introduce some very special people. And first up, of course, we do have the co-founders of Riot Games, Brandon Reisbeck and Mark Trendomir Merrill, also joined by the country manager of Riot Korea. It's going to be Woody Ree on the stage to present the awards for the 2014 World Championships. And we'd like to thank everyone once again for making this event possible, you know, going all the way from Taipei, then to Singapore, to Busan, to venues in Seoul. And now we have concluded the 2014 World Championship. And on behalf of everyone involved in making this event happen, I'd like to thank all of you fans of League of Legends. for making this 2014 World Championship possible. And now to bring the spotlight back to the champions of the 2014 World Championship, we're going to invite the 2014 World Champions. It's going to be Samsung White. And we'll get to meet, of course, all 5 players one by one, as they do deserve that time here on stage. First up, it's going to be from top lane, Looper.
Definitely impressive as the tournament went on. Pulled out those unique picks in the semi-finals, surprising a lot. Definitely laying his mark in that top lane.
Absolutely. And joining him on stage, it will be from the jungle, Dandy. And Dandy just hailed as the best jungler in the world coming into this tournament, and he's proven it going through to the very end of the finals.
On his signature champion, Rengar, no less, just shy of 100% kill participation.
And in the mid lane, it is Pawn for Samsung White. And, you know, came into this tournament as a guy who took Faker down 4 times, and he's proven why he should be hailed as the best mid laner in the world.
Mid laner that replaced Dade from the same squad that didn't make it out of groups last year. Great performance.
And the AD carry for Samsung White. Imp, there he is. Just everyone's most lovable character probably as a player, and Imp. Just an explosive AD carry, and he's really been gelling with Mata as that bottom duo. And last but not least, going to be the support player and also the MVP of the World Championship Finals of 2014. It's going to be Mata. And just the absolutely well-deserved MVP award.
Yeah, mind-blowing performances all throughout Worlds. Can play defensive, can play offensive. I voted for him as MVP. Definitely deserved.
Yeah, there it is. Hoisting up the MVP award, and just a big round of applause for the 2014 World Champions. We will give them a chance for some photos, of course, with the co-founders of Riot Games and the Riot's Korean country manager. But once again, Samsung White, just an absolutely well-deserved, as you guys have been saying, as everyone around the world has been saying, for the 2014 World Championship.
And what a way to finish. 3-1 in their home country. Undoubtedly the strongest team in the world.
And we will get to hear from the players here in a second. I'm sure they'll have a lot to say, especially after a slight discourse from what most people expected in the finals of a 3-0. They did end up going 3-1 against Starhorn Royal Club.
Well, dropping a game, but very excited nevertheless. Photos seem to be done, and we'll be getting to those interviews. I'm sincerely hoping we get some stories from Imp and Mata, because they are more than happy to share them.
Absolutely, and all the players have had quite a journey in Korea, of course, before coming to the World Championship. But before we go to the interviews, thanks once again to Brandon Beck, Mark Mara, and of course Woody Ree for making this possible and joining us in the awards ceremony. And now the players will have a chance to speak their minds here in front of everyone gathered for the World Championship.
Over 40,000 fans in attendance. And definitely cheering on the victors.
Yeah, it's been just a crazy journey. And of course, it's going to be first up Looper, who debuted on the World Championship stage last year and carrying through to 2 consecutive World Championships. I'm just so happy right now, you know, standing here. just saying, you know, isn't that too bland? You just won the finals of the World Championship. You know, let's give a shout out to the 40,000 people out here on the stage. And he says, I'm really happy. Oh, Looper.
I can imagine it's overwhelming.
Yes, indeed. Now, Looper, just people have been praising you that you've gotten 3 times better, 4 times better. Just so much better. How do you rate yourself? And Looper just saying, well, you know, I've just been doing my part, practicing hard, and I think this is the reward I get. And I mean, Looper, you just won a huge prize pool. You get to hoist that Summoner's Cup, and you can just be cool like this. Oh, this is just my personality. This is just how I am. Looper has always been known to be a quiet guy, you know, on the Mata side. But then we will skip to Dandy, who is usually very outspoken.
안녕하세요. 저 삼성 갤럭시 화이트의 정글을 맡고 있는 댄디 최희입니다.
Hello everyone. You know, Inkyu Choi, that's my name, and I am, of course, the jungler for Samsung White, Dandy.
뭐라 해야 되지? 너무 상상도 할 수 없는 무대에서 제가 게임을 한다는 것
this is just an absolutely dreamy stage, and to be able to play this game on this stage, I just still can't take it in. I'm just thankful that we were able to get here and to everyone supporting us. And you know, who'd you like to thank the most? And Dandy, saying my parents. You know, I want to give a shout out to my parents. And you know, I actually haven't been able to give much back to my parents as a professional gamer until now. You know, just kind of having to do my own thing and not really being able to communicate with my parents much. And I know there's some just other people may have misconceptions about what my career is, and it's hard to support me directly, but I'm just very thankful that I was able to stand here and now give thanks back to them as my parents. And next up, of course, Pawn. And how do you feel? I mean, until now it's been Faker, then Dade being kind of hailed as the best mid, but now you stand here and the crowd's cheering that it's Pawn now going to be the best mid, except for Imp, who wanted to kind of chime in and say he thinks Faker might still be out there. And, you know, as for me, I've never been able to win champions in Korea. I wasn't able to hoist that cup up, but now here I get to hoist the Summoner's Cup up, so it means a lot more to me to have to stand here. And, you know, just how do you feel going up against all these other mid laners around the world? You know, there are people like Faker, Xpeke, and Pawn just saying, you know, I don't play to take the spotlight. I just do my part. I just play to win with the team. So I think it's hard to kind of compare myself with those players. And Imp, how do you feel?
정말 좋고요. 제 실력으로 여기까지 우승한 건 저희 팀원 덕분인 것 같아요.
And I'm stuttering a little bit, but just saying, you know, I'm just very happy, and you know, being able to get here through our skill and with my team, it makes me very happy to be here with my team.
다 이거 켄타키를 할 때마다 제가 들었던 말인데.
And
댄디 덕분인 것 같아요. 댄디.
About his pentakill so far, the tournament he just says. What I've heard every time I've pentakilled is actually that it's thanks to Dandy. So I just gotta give it up to Dandy. And as for Mata, I mean Mata's great too, but I think Dandy set up the pentakills for me. And with Mata, I mean we've been together for quite some time, and probably one of the longer lasting bottom lanes in Korea and in the world. And just thank you so much to Mata for bringing me up to this level and also covering up some of my mistakes and, you know, the parts that I had to improve on.
That's very strong.
안녕하세요.
And Mata was rubbing his eyes. We'd like to know, you know, why you're rubbing your eyes. I'm just a little bit tired. I just had to rub my eyes a little bit. But I'm sure a very touching moment for him as an older brother.
여기서 그만하고 싶네요. 여기서 그만하고 싶어요. 네, 농담이고.
Mata just saying, you know, how I do feel is I want to stop right here. This is where I want to stop. But of course, joking aside, in terms of career, it's been just a difficult journey to be able to stand on a final stage, and then we've grown and grown. And this year, we got to stand here as the victors on the stage of the World Championship final. So it means a lot to me. And you know, we got to win the World Championship, but I actually want this to motivate us to perform even better in the future. I actually want this to be a turning point for our team. And so, before we wrap up, Mata would also like to actually give a shout out to his parents, just saying, you know, I actually have never mentioned my parents in interviews or any opportunity that I've had as a professional gamer. So I want to take this chance. You know, thank you so much for being with me. And now everyone wants to turn at the mic. Well, we'll give you the time, man.
인규 형 같은 경우에는 저랑 2년 6개월 동안 같이 해줬는데 제가 못할 때나 잘할 때나 같이 해줘서
just, you know, my teammates, but especially Dandy, who's been with me for 2.5 years. Just thank you so much for being with me, even when I've just been on the, you know, just down low in terms of performance. Thank you so much for sticking with me. You know, Looper, thank you so much for just holding true in that top lane. Of course, Pawn also just doing your part every time, and I have to give a huge shout out to Mata. And Dandy would like to say, you know, I also want to give a shout out to our coach. You know, it's not just us five you always see on the stage. It is home really bringing us together, actually putting in just as much work, if not more, to be able to bring us to this level. So I want to give a shout out to him alongside Imp, and also Dandy giving a huge just shout out and praise to his mid and top laners, Pawn and Looper. But once again, these are your 2014 World Champions, Samsung White. Coming prepared, of course, with their banner and shirts, ready to storm the stage. And it's been a long 5-week journey getting here across different regions, but this marks just the wrap-up of the 2014 World Championship. And we'd like to thank everyone. However, of course, we're not done yet here at the World Championship stage.
Final actor! 여러분, 다시 한번 무대 위로 모시도록 하겠습니다. Please welcome once again Imagine Dragons!